What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review, and I'm here from my car waiting on my daughter who's in dance class, and I figured, hey, let's knock a video or two out, right? So first, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I do lots of movie reviews, trailer reactions, TV reviews, and I put out a lot of content. Just want to make sure that you know exactly what I'm up to. So right now, I want to give my series review of the Netflix original series, Merry Happy Whatever. Now, we know that I'm a sucker for Christmas movies, and this isn't a Christmas movie, but this is a TV series that is set the whole season, 8 episodes, around Christmas. Around a family getting together for Christmas, and all of the weird, eccentric behavior that comes with families getting together around Christmas. So let me say this. So first of all, it stars Dennis Quaid, and Ashley Tisdale is in it from High School Musical. Dennis Quaid, right? They got a legitimate actor. Netflix has a history of getting legitimate actors, though. But this movie is, like I said, about a family This series is about a family that gets together at Christmas time, and kind of all their baggage is brought out, and it's kind of told through the perspective of a boyfriend who comes home with his girlfriend, and they're young adults, probably late 20s, somewhere in that range, and he wants to propose, but he, as happens a lot in these movies, or I keep saying movie, it really played like a movie. What happens a lot in these shows is that, in this type of story, is that the boyfriend does not click well with the family right away, especially the dad. So this being a Netflix show, Netflix is well known, well documented for their inclusiveness, their representation, and this show had that in spades. You had the conservative father, you had the one of the liberal kids, you had an atheist in there, you had a Jewish guy in there, you had a homosexual person who's not out of the closet yet. You had an Asian in there. You had an African American in there. Couple mixed relationships. I mean, they checked all the boxes for inclusiveness. And sometimes that annoys me. It really does. Sometimes it annoys me because it doesn't feel authentic when you do that. And I realize that there's a lot of families in this country that have that kind of representation in their family, and I'm perfectly fine with that, and that's all good. That's all good. Yay, inclusiveness. But sometimes it does feel forced. Sometimes it does feel like, hey, we've got it. We've got this person. We've got our Christian. We've got our atheist. We've got our African American. We've got our Asian. We've got our homosexual. We're checking all the boxes. See, we're being inclusive. And to be honest, it felt that way every now and then in this series. Every now and then you got that sense that it was Netflix just checking the boxes. That being said, I love the way they did it. They painted everybody in a very positive light. There were no jokes that were at the expense of a particular person or a particular group of people. Lots of times you see in a show like this, it's trying to be inclusive and with good intentions. There will be jokes at the expense of the conservative person, or there'll be jokes at the expense of the white person, or there'll be jokes at the expense of the Christian person. Kind of the mainstream, they will have jokes at the expense of whatever is mainstream. Whatever is considered to be I guess mainstream America, which there's no such thing as mainstream America anymore, so that's not even really a thing. But I digress. Netflix did this really well. There were jokes about these things, but I never felt Dennis Quaid plays the conservative father, and I never felt that they were jokes at his expense. They were jokes about the situations that he was in, about some of the situations that were, that went against some of his, maybe not against, but maybe contrary to some of his personal beliefs, but they were never at his expense. And I really appreciated that. So Netflix did that well. And like I said, sometimes it's really cringeworthy when you feel like they're just checking boxes, but I never felt like they were checking boxes. I feel like they were trying to show a true representation of what a very complex mixed family in America looks like today. And they did a very good job of that. So kudos to them, because sometimes it just doesn't come off well. The acting was better than I would expect on a show like this, but it was all anchored by Dennis Quaid, and Dennis Quaid is a true thespian. You know, he's somebody who can really bring the acting chops. Ashley Tisdale from High School Musical, she plays the homosexual who is not out of the closet yet. And I feel like she was a good choice. And that's because most of the people in the show are not names. They're not big names at all. I don't know any of them other than Dennis Quaid and Ashley Tisdale. Now, I wouldn't call her a award-winning dramatic actress, but at least she had the experience, the acting experience, and the chops that she was able to pull off something as weighty as this, especially something that had, this was a weighty issue that had a lot of comedic elements to it. So I definitely thought that she was the right choice. I think anybody would have been the right choice who had the experience to pull off a role that was as weighty as that. The kind of the lead character, the boyfriend, who we're seeing all this through his eyes, I thought the actor did fine. There were a few times where I kind of cringed a little bit at some of his dialogue, not just his dialogue, but his dialogue delivery. But for the most part, I thought he did a very passable job. This was a show that it was a quick watch. Each episode, there were 8 episodes. Each episode was about 25 minutes, give or take. And it was a quick watch. It was, you could watch the whole thing in a little less than 4 hours. I watched it in 2 sittings, one on one day and then the rest on the other day. And it was a quick watch. It was funny. There were a lot of moments of levity, a lot of moments that made me laugh. And I just thought it was a pretty well put together show about a complex family set at Christmas time. And I wouldn't go as far as calling it a Christmas show, but it definitely was set at Christmas time, and it had a lot of Christmas elements to it. And it would not, it was called Merry Happy Whatever. It was definitely a show that couldn't exist without being set at the holidays, given its premise. It does have a laugh track, and initially that threw me off. Laugh tracks can get really annoying. But to be honest with you, through the course of the show, I kind of just stopped realizing that it was there. So if you're somebody who gets kind of put off by a laugh track, I would suggest trying to get through a couple episodes, because for me, initially I was put off by the laugh track, and then it just kind of became noise. It kind of became something that I didn't even really pay much attention to. So yeah, I thought this was a very decent attempt at Netflix to put out a holiday themed show with a very complex family, a lot of very complex themes where they were clearly checking off boxes, but it didn't feel that way. It was checking off boxes as far as representation, but it didn't feel that way. It felt very natural, felt very fluid, and it's one of the better instances that I've seen of a show clearly trying to check the boxes, but doing a good job of making it feel natural, making it feel fluid. Like I said, this is America in 2019. There are families that exist like this that have these boxes all checked. But for me, it's always, how do you do that without making it feel forced, without making it feel like there's some sort of left-wing agenda? And I always say that there's no problem having a message in a show or a movie, as long as that message doesn't get in the way of the storytelling. I don't care if it's a conservative message. I don't care if it's a liberal message. Give me a message. Give me something that can spark conversation. Just don't let it get in the way of the storytelling. And for me, there was not even any message here about representation or inclusiveness. It was just natural. And I've always said that when we get to a point in our culture where it's just natural, where it comes naturally and it doesn't even feel like they're trying to check off those boxes, then real progress has been made. I'm not saying that we're there yet, but I'm saying that this show for me was a true symbol of, hey, maybe we're making progress in this whole representation thing, because it didn't feel like it threw me off. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel unnatural. So I don't know. Have you seen Merry Happy Whatever? I would love to hear your take on it. Whether you liked it, whether you thought it was funny, whether you thought that the representation in it felt natural, because for me, it felt really natural, and it was something that I really enjoyed. And it's not something that I had to pick apart and say, there's a box checked. It was just something where I was like, hey, this is a complex family in America in 2019, and it was natural. So let me know what you thought about Merry Happy Whatever. I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here, where we get to talk about all of the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Every single day